Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make these super cute crochet leg warmers, and this tutorial is made entirely for beginners, so we're going to be taking this nice and slow the entire time. For your materials today, you want about 80 grams of one weight 4 yarn, which is about one of the skeins I'm showing you on the screen, and 50 of another weight 4. I use a 5mm and 10mm hook, but you can use ones within a similar range, and the only other thing that you need is scissors. If you like to use a darning needle or stitch markers, go ahead and use them, but they're not required. And finally, my free written pattern is up on my Instagram and Facebook, and without that, let's get right on into this video. So you're going to want to start by making a simple slip knot with whatever you want your main color of the leg warmers to be. So mine are obviously going to be green, so I'm starting with my green yarn here. If you've never made a slip knot before, you want to use your non-dominant hand, for me that's my left, and create this little half circle with the yarn like this. Use your right hand to flip it over like an hourglass, and then pull it through itself like this. There's plenty of ways to make a slip knot. Use whatever's easiest for you. I just like to do it this way because it goes super quick. Next, we're going to start with our 10mm hook, or whatever your bigger size is, loop our yarn on, and very gently pull, so that way it's nice and tight against the hook, but it can still be moved if you need it to. We're first going to work on the actual height, so that way you want to make your chain to go as high up on your leg as you want. For me, I'm doing 20 chains plus one turning chain, which I'll explain later. So, to make a chain, you want to use your hook to loop it around the yarn in your hand, and then twist it towards you to pull it through without dropping it off. You're going to do that 20 times, or again as many times as you want, and it helps to be really loose on these, because if you pull too tight, you're never going to be able to get your hook back through. So just try to pull very gently as you go, not making it too loose so that way they're super wide chains, but not pulling it too tight that you can never go back in. We're going to add that extra chain here, which will make sense in a second, because we're going to be doing half double crochets all the way down. So you're going to skip that last chain that we did, and loop your yarn over your hook like you're about to make a chain. Instead, you're going to insert it into the next chain here, and this is the start of your half double crochet. So once you have 3 loops on your hook, you're going to wrap it over the yarn like this, and pull through just one, like you're making a single chain just through one of the loops. With the other loops on your hook, you're going to loop over again, and that time pull it through all 3, which is what makes the base of the half double crochet. I'm going to show you this again, and we're going to take it nice and slow, because it helps to see it a few times. Yarn over first, insert through the stitch you want to go into, now yarn over again, and pull it through just one of those loops. With the 3 loops you still have on your hook, yarn over again, pull it through all 3, and again you've made one more half double crochet. I'm just going to show you guys again just for the beginners here. Yarn over, find your next stitch and go inside of it. Yarn over again, pull it out of the first stitch, and then yarn over to pull through all 3. And what this does is it creates something really thick as opposed to a single crochet or a double crochet, so that way your leg warmers actually keep you warm and they're like functionally cute. So I like this stitch the best for these. If you are a bit more advanced and you want to use a double crochet or a single crochet, be my guest, it won't alter the pattern. Now, once your piece starts to look like this, you know you're going in the right direction. You want to make sure you're doing your half double crochets going all the way down until the end. So if you started with 20 chains like I did, you will have 20 half double crochets. I'm pausing here at the end of the row to show you what it looks like when you go into that last stitch. Since it's a little hard to see where the knot was, this stitch here is what your last one will look like, no matter how many chains you made. And with that, you'll do your final half double crochet. And now we need to be able to actually turn our work around. So you're going to do one singular chain, which kind of just gives you a little extra room when turning. And now you're essentially just going to keep doing half double crochets, row by row, one in each of these. So just always remember what your starting number was. This is what your loop looks like that you're going to be going into, just the top of the last half double crochets that you made. And the stitch itself stays exactly the same, yarning over, pushing it through here, yarn over again and pull it through that chain, or now the half double crochet, and now yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Want to do the same thing again, just making sure you're going into the right part of your piece, yarning over, going through 1, yarning over and going through all 3. Continue now again, going all the way down your row, and just to explain it a little bit better, keep in mind that first number that you started with, because that's going to be the same amount of half double crochets you make until you reach the end of this. So for me, again, it was 20. So I'm going to have 20 half double crochets in every row. If you did 15 chains, you would do 15 and so on and so forth. Your rows will start to look like this as they add up. I'm going to meet you again at the end of this row to show you how to finish it off before you keep moving on to your next ones. And again, if you ever need help, please leave me a comment or message me on Instagram. I'm always available and I love to help you guys. Once you've reached the end of your row, your last couple stitches might be a little tricky to see. So if you reach like 18 out of 20 and you're getting confused, you want to look for the ones that look like this. As you can see, this one still has that little arrow-ish like shape or braided shape on the top, so I know that this is one of these stitches we have to go into. So we'll do our half double crochet totally normally. And again, we have that same shape going in on this last one, so I know that that is my last half double crochet to finish off my row here. Once you have finished that row, which should be your second, you're going to want to do another chain and then flip your work to continue making more rows. You are going to keep repeating these steps over and over again until your piece is big enough to fit around the circumference of your calf, or if you're making it really big, up to your knees. So this is something you can either use like a ruler for or a tape measure to go around if you have like a clothing tape measure, or you can simply just make a row, measure it up against your leg, and keep going around and around until you have enough. I believe mine ended up being 15 rows in total, but again, it's going to be completely different for everybody. And then to show you how you would do this with a tape measure, I'm essentially going to lay my piece flat when I think it's as long as I need it to be, and then take my tape measure and go and check how big it is up against my leg. It can also be useful to measure it up against the largest part of your calf, so that way it's a little bit baggy as it goes down, and like true leg warmer fashion. So I'm going to finish up my last piece over here, making sure that I'm in my final row before I'm ready to go with closing it up using something called a slip stitch. So I'm going to start by finding these two corners on both the front and back, and then after my chain of one, I'm going to insert it through the back like this, and now pull it through both loops on my hook, essentially making it just the same way you would do a half double crochet, but now pulling it through two and not doing any yarning over. You're just going straight through one side and straight out the other side. You're going to do that exact same stitch going all the way down until both sides are connected to each other. So you want to make sure you've laid it flat so that way everything is like perfectly lined up. Now you're going to insert your hook through both sides, yarn over, and pull it through. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way around. This is a really easy stitch, probably like the easiest one there is. And if you still need help with it or if you need me to take it slower, I have other videos where I explain this more in depth too. For people who are on the bit more advanced side, if you prefer to use a darning needle to go through this part of your project, go ahead and do that. Again, it doesn't change anything. I just prefer to do the slip stitching method because I think it gives you a stronger hold on like your two sides of the piece. So just so that way you guys have a better idea in your head, you should have the same amount of slip stitches that you had for half double crochets. So it should be about 20, but if you miss a spot or if you do too many or too few, it won't make any difference at all, so long as they're pretty close. Once your piece has gone all the way across, it should look like this, almost entirely flat, and you will just do a chain of one before cutting your yarn here. Leave yourself a small tail like this, so that way when you pull it out with your hook, you can actually tie a little knot here. If you know how to weave in ends and have a different way, you can do that now, but I'm going to show you in the next step how I weave it in using our next step 7 stuff here, which is our slip knot and our hems. So for our frilly hem here, you're going to start with another slip knot using your other color. For me, I chose this beige because I thought it looked nice up against the green. Insert it onto your hook first, and now go into the very top of your piece here. I'm making sure I go right behind where those tails were so we can weave them in this spot here. You're going to make a single crochet to connect it, so pull it through like this, and with 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull it through the both of those. Then you are going to chain 1 and add a double crochet into that same stitch. So to make a double crochet, you'll yarn over like a half double crochet, insert, yarn over again, and pull through. The difference to make it a double is this time you're going to be yarning over and pulling through 2 loops, then pulling through 2 more. And now you want to add 3 total double crochets into each stitch. The first one only needs 2 because you did that chain of 2, so that counts as 1 double crochet. From here, as you're doing your next set of 3 double crochets, weave in your ends by simply holding them up against the yarn like the way I'm showing you here. It's like it's another hat on top of the stitch you're going into. Do your double crochets normally, adding 3 into that next stitch, and again I'm taking it nice and slow here so you guys can see how I'm making them. It's essentially just a taller version of the half double crochet. So once you have 1, you'll add in your next, looping through 2 and then 2 more, and you'll do the same after that. And we use double crochets because it'll make a bunch of frills once you're done with it, since they're like crowding up the space. Into your next stitch, you'll do the exact same thing, making sure to hold down your tail so that way they get looped in as well. So again, you'll add your 1 double crochet here. Make sure you have enough yarn like me. You can kind of see it getting stuck in the video. Then you'll pull through, keep doing your double crochets all the way around. And if you're weaving in your tail, you'll notice that it's just essentially inside of all those double crochets the more you go through it. So it's getting trapped in there without having any of the little ends sticking out. If you have something else in mind and you don't want to do a frilly hem like the way I'm doing it here, you can simply just do 1 double crochet in each of these stitches and it'll be a straight up and down sort of look instead of those frills at the bottom. The frills I like because they cover my sneakers like I showed you in that beginning clip, but if it's something that you want to just like sit over top, maybe you have a different sort of boot and you want it to be nice and straight, don't worry about doing 3 double crochets, just stick with 1 in every stitch and you'll still have a cute look. To close off your row here, you want to do a slip stitch into the very top of that first double crochet that you made. So I'm pointing it out here. You want to insert in with your hook like this, and now simply just yarn over and pull that slip stitch through everything else you just did. Same way that we used it to close off the row of the actual leg warmer. From there, you're just going to chain 1 time, then you're going to want to cut your yarn like this, same way again that we did it before. Pull up with your hook to make that little knot, and now you guys can weave in these however you want like I showed you before, but I do want to show you how to do this the other way too. I like to take my hook and essentially feed it in through both sides, pulling it like back to front and back to front. With this method, you might see things if you don't like pull it through all the way. You might have a little bit of a tail sticking out, but so long as you do it right and trim your ends, they'll be like nice and encapsulated into the stitches themselves up here. So when you've seen them, you probably wouldn't notice at all that there was ever like a weaved in hem. Once everything is taken care of here, you want to flip your piece around so we can add the top hem as well. The top hem is also going to start with another slip knot, same way that we made it before, and we're going to attach it the exact same way we did. By now you should be a pro at the slip knot. It should be your 3rd one in this video, but again, if you ever need help, just let me know and I can walk you through it. So attach it to your hook, pull nice and tight, but not so much so that you can't move it anymore, and now you'll do your little single crochet to connect it to the very top of this piece. So this is going to be a much flatter hem using a different stitch, but it'll still be connected the same way with the single crochet. Instead of doing a chain 1 and continuing with double crochets, this time you're just going to go straight into doing 1 single crochet in every stitch across the top. So it'll be much smaller, not as tall, and it won't be ruffled at all. It'll simply sit over top of the leg warmers like a nice finished hem, as opposed to leaving it like just that plain green bumpy edge on the side. Single crochet is also pretty easy. As you've seen, you're just yarning through and pulling through 1 singular time. It just might take you a second to get all the way around because they're a little bit smaller than the double crochets. And again, if you want the top to be frilly, just put more than 1 in each of these. You can do it however you please. Once you reach the end, find your first single crochet, go through the top and create 1 slip stitch to push it all the way through and close it up. Do your chain of 1 and then simply cut your yarn. And we're going to do it the exact same way, pulling up to make your knot and then weaving in that end. Again, I'm just going to do it this way because it's a little bit quicker, pulling it through 1 at a time through the top of this. Again, it's something you're not going to notice. To make the bow, you want to start with your final slip knot here, and this time you are going to make a chain of 100. If you want a longer bow, you are going to want to chain more than 100. If you want it to be a little bit smaller, chain less than 100. But I don't recommend going more than maybe 10 to 15 in either direction. This part is a little bit tedious. Counting to 100 and making sure you don't skip any could be a pain in the butt, but I don't make you you're not forced to do exactly 100. If you're off by a couple, it's not going to make a huge difference. Just count to 100. It'll be long enough and you'll notice where you're good. Once you have reached the end, you are simply just going to cut your piece like this and pull up to make your knot. That way you now have this nice long string. You want to even out your 2 tail ends like this, holding it from the knots and then making them a little bit smaller, like the aglets of a shoelace. And then finally, we want to take this long piece that we have and start to use our hook to weave it through, because this creates what's essentially a tie, so you can make it nice and tight on the top. I'm going to be going in the very top green row, essentially that space in between the hem that we made and the very top. So that way it's not going straight through the white part where it might look a little bit weird, and we're just going to go through the green. I'm kind of skipping what's the equivalent of those 2 single crochets in between each weave, pulling it first through the front and then through the back all the way around. This is just very simple weaving. There's no real technique to it. You just want to pull it through so that way it sits over top like a drawstring. If you want them to be right on top of each other, you can do that. Or if you want them to be a little bit spread out, that's fine too. Just keep in mind that the closer they are together, the more chains you'll need for your bow. Once you have pulled it all the way around, they should both end up in the front like this. And with that, you just want to repeat all of these steps to make your second leg warmer, and then you're done. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I upload once a month with these giant crochet tutorials if you did enjoy this one. I also do weekly uploads, usually ASMR or makeup videos, or just some lifestyle stuff as well. I can't wait to see you all back next week. Bye-bye!